Okay, so here we are in Avebury Henge. Those are the cove stones over there. Now, normally I would be able to walk along that bank there, but it's shut for repairs. So we're going to circumnavigate this quarter of the circle sunwise. I think this is either the northern or the eastern quarter. I would have to check. This is where I come on holiday. This is the place I recharge my soul. It is the biggest henge in Europe, and here's one beautiful standing stone. Look at the lichens on it. If I can zoom in. Very unusual lichens. And they will be mapped, my natural England. My brother will be one of the people, a different part, Dartmoor. And I think now let's just walk about. So that stand of trees that you see in the background there on the hill, on the ridgeway, that is a Bronze Age round barrow. It never normally had trees on it. The Victorians thought they looked better, so they all planted loads of trees. And the builders started making this probably around 2500 before Christ. And it was built in stages. And people would have come here. They would have walked along that ridgeway, that hill line you see in the distance by the round barrow. They would have come up from the south coast, and the ridgeway, I believe, goes all the way up to Wales. And they would have trekked here from wherever with their livestock and their families, and met up with other tribes. And in front of us there is one of the gateway stones, I think. It's been about 7 or 8 years since I've been here. This is the first time I've been by myself. Let's just zoom back to normal. I think we're going to walk along this cut path here. Just take a little shortcut over to the cove stones. Now, I'm not sure, it's very windy. A lot of the places are shut here today because we were meant to have big storms. Of course, I've just arrived in it. I'm here for about 3 days. So we'll be tripping over monuments and staying slightly north of the circle. And there are a couple of new things that I have found. So there's going to be lots of little videos coming out. I might be able to meld it all together. But yes, that wind is strong. And if the sound is not very good, then I will have to record the sound over separately. But this is a cove. This could have possibly had a stone horizontally laid on top. And they still do druid moots and things. They'll have one next week for the equinox. But look at these. The male phallic and the female round the stone. their energies. Coming closer. Let's walk around. I mean, if you ever get a chance to come to England, this is 20 miles north of Stonehenge. And I prefer it to Stonehenge because I can actually touch. Now you can see a lot of quartz glistening. If I come in, these are called sarsen stone. And these would have been brought from a valley to the east, where the wind is so strong it's blowing my camera. Just imagine all of these ancients. This is well before the Druids. There were people living in this landscape about 3,500 BCE. Now we're heading to one of my favourite stones. I'm just going to have a look at this sign. We used to sit under that tree, but they have fenced it off. Interestingly, wherever you see stinging nettles, humans have been before. Mature trees, veteran trees are valuable, so they don't want people going near the trees. And quite often there is sheep in here. And here's one of my favourite stones we're coming up to. I used to sit and have my breakfast here, and I used to come down with friends to get up really early in the morning, and you can see offerings. People have left little offerings. We have some little tiny apples, conkers, feathers. Some other pagans who have been here. And look, here's some more interesting lichens. My brother would be able to tell you all the names. I can't. And a smaller stone that has fallen over. Some of these have been cut. As you can see, they were heated and cut and made into that barn behind. Okay. And there's a good example of the ditch and the bank over there. So we're going to head down there, and then we're going to walk into the next quarter. Hashtag dream place to live, in the middle of a stone circle. And if you're wondering why they built a village in the middle of it, just because it was changing from paganism and devil worship, which we never did, to Christianity. So here's another gateway stone that has fallen over. So this had 4 entrances, north, east, south and west. And tomorrow I will take you to the Long Barrow and Silbury Hill. My happy place. So I've had a picnic on this. I've been coming to this area of Wiltshire in England about 20 years now. Let's pull it into normal. And much of these long barrows, tombs, henges, because there's a lot of henges in this area, were orientated to star systems, and we call that astroarchaeology. It's a bit like the Serpent Mound. It's aligned with Draco in America. I think it's Missouri. Now, these trees here are known as the Tolkien trees. And it is said, it is probably an urban myth, that J.R. Tolkien sat under these trees and it gave him the inspiration for the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. As we get closer, you'll see the lattice work of roots, and you'll see that people hang gifts, cluties, into the branches. So here we are, some little wishes. And I think there are 3 trees or 4 trees. Probably find some little gifts. There you go, little offerings that people leave. Some merlinite, roses, legumes from their harvest. Yeah, 4 trees. And I think we can get onto the walkway here, so we can walk part the way around on the bank. So we are outside the circle now. And these are the Barrowlands. So you can see the chalk here, which is what the south of England is pretty much made up from. Lots of little animals, little snails and organisms. And we get a great view over the landscape here. There are crop circles every summer around this monument. We have 2 major ley lines, St. Michael and the Mary ley line. Both bisect Avebury Henge, somewhere over there where those stones are. And you can have a dowsing lesson here. And there were 4 lines of sarsen stones creating avenues. We will walk down one of them and douse it tomorrow. You can see part of the avenue. If I scroll in, can you see the standing stones there? Down that way is to a long barrow and another henge. And of course Silbury Hill, which is Europe's pyramid, built at the same time as the Giza Plateau pyramids. And that was probably because the sky was moving and they couldn't see the stars they were used to. So they thought if they build a platform that they'd be able to see it. But alas, they couldn't. And And at the solstices, this place is packed. Mainly full of college kids asking if I've got any drugs. Hence why I don't come to solstices anymore. That wind is strong, it's gusting about 70 miles an hour. I would have watched the skies, known when the sun rose. All of those trees you can see are barrows and tumuli of the chieftains who wanted to show their power and to be buried in the place that they loved. You can see the church through there, showing that this is now Christendom, not a pagan country. And here comes the rain, so I might have to put the camera away. There's another quarter over there which we'll walk round. And at the solstice, the drummers all sit under here. There are people juggling and dancing down there in the stones. So I want to cross and go into that quarter there. So we come down these steps. Through another gateway, another pair of stones. And you can see the Druid's chair in that dip, which I'm going to go and sit in. Yes, I spent a summer solstice cowering here in the rain with bin bags over me. One of my adventures. So this little dip here, it's called the Druid's chair, and basically you would sit in it and you'd watch the sky. Those trees wouldn't have been there, so you'd have got a better view. But you watch the sky and you're looking for alignment, you're looking for certain star systems to rise, Sirius in particular. And as I sit here, the sound changes. And actually, I'm quite relaxed sitting within this stone. See if I can angle it around. No, I don't think I can do that mid-video. Take a breath in and ground. So we're going down that way tomorrow, down the avenue to Silbury Hill and the Long Barrow. Okay, let's walk through the gateway. And these stones here are pretty amazing. There's one missing. Some people believe this is set out to mimic Pleiades in the middle there. And this was where I graduated from my Reiki teaching master. Right in the middle there where that obelisk is. If I can find the pictures. My Facebook account got hacked and lost, so I haven't got them. Right right back in about, I think it was 2011. What memories do these stones hold? I can tell you I came here one morning very early on a run with my dog. It was all frosty and misty, and there were little mist rainbows, and I did my Tai Chi, and the magnetism of the circle holds you in place. You could fall asleep standing up in the right pose. Okay, through the kissing gate. There's the avenue starting just down there. Well, we're going to go across here. I'm going to look carefully both ways, and over we go. So we are going to circumnavigate these stones. There's the avenue in the distance. Okay, we'll go there tomorrow for another walk. Hail to Avebury, hail to Avebury, the place where I come to recharge my soul. Hail to Avebury, hail to Avebury. Dance in the sunrise, be happy and well. Okay. So again, erosion control, we can't cross down that path. Let's walk around here, getting a feel of this huge henge. Isn't it just beautiful? Imagine the memories that these stones hold. Look at all of the quartz in here. If I'm too close, but it glistens in the sun. And Avebury is a bit of a secret. It rarely appears on maps when you're driving around the area. You'd have to look for Marlborough. Look at the holes and the grooves in these. And when you're sitting, sometimes you can see people and heads and faces, because that's what us humans look for, don't we? We see faces in the trees, faces in clouds. I mean, this one's a beautiful diamond shape. Absolutely stunning. And there's a view of the other quarter. Obelisks. Can you imagine how amazing it was when there wasn't a village in the middle of it? It was all grassland, no roads. with huge tribes coming together to build this place. Once farming had come in, and they needed to know when to harvest. You know, when Sirius rose in early August, the dog star, they harvested, and they would have started preparing any winter crops. Oh, what I do to live here. Ooh. Hashtag my dream. So it's pretty easy to get to on train. I don't drive. So you got to go to Swindon Station, and then you get the 49 bus. Now, some of these places are bread and breakfasts. I'm staying just north of the circle. North of the next quarter we are going to walk through. So they're not letting us in that bit, letting the ground recover. It's been so dry. Okay. So today, the National Trust, who kind of owns this place, has actually shut everything down because the weather was supposed to be so bad. They're crazy, really. People like me will come anyway. So, there is a manor here. There is a museum here. And if you watched To the Manor Born, they redid the manor. Zhuzhed it all up inside. The gardens are beautiful. They are topiary. There's coffee shops here. Oh, look at the Virginia creeper or the Boston ivy. Autumn is here. Can never tell the difference between those. And there you're entering the National Trust Museum and coffee shop, etc., etc. We are going to walk in the last quarter. Let's walk up these very handy steps. And here we go. This is the first time I visited without my lovely dog, Alfie. We had many an experience here, early in the morning, late at night. As I said, a lot of crop circles around this area. Many I have visited. And the ones that I would say are real are the ones that my hands tingle and open in. So most of these were toppled over when it was kind of rediscovered in the 1700s. And they have now cemented these stones in place. They've used some kind of geomancy to find others that are buried. And it was thought to be a big circle with a couple of other circles in between. Over that way, can't see it unless you were on the bank, is Windmill Hill, where I have not been yet because I've not explored north of the circle. I should do that in a couple of days and send a video. And a tiny long barrow called Horselip Barrow, which I shall visit for the first time. Here's one of our favourite sitting stones. Have a nice rest on there, lie down, have your picnic there. And those big stones there, that is the northern gateway. So my bed and breakfast is just up there where those little houses are. And here's another gateway with these huge diamond stones. Very imposing. And I'm just going to go through this gate here and walk back into the other quarter. So it is kind of wheelchair friendly. You can do little excursions if you're not very able-bodied. Don't come with someone like me who treks at least 10k a day when I come to these places. 10 to 12k a day, and I just go, oh look, there's something over there, and off I go. So there is a tour of a big henge. Stonehenge is tiny in comparison, but it has those big triathlons, the two stones with the stones on top, and that is unique. There is not another Stonehenge, but there are stone circles all over Europe, all over Africa. I think they found some in Japan, loads in Russia. And there we are, back at the cove. So thank you for watching. I hope you get a little view of what Avebury is like. I'm off to relax and meditate now. See you tomorrow.